Hi, and welcome to the Post-Acute Point of View, our discussion hub for healthcare technology in the out-of-hospital space. Here we talk about the latest news and views on trends and innovation that can impact the way post-acute care providers work. And we take a look at how technology can make a difference in today's changing healthcare landscape in both home-based and facility-based care organizations and the lives of the people they serve. Today we hear from Amy Wooten, Director of Nutrition Management at Matrix Care, and her special guest. Let's dive in.
Welcome to another episode of the Post-Acute Point of View. Hi, this is Amy Wooten, Registered Dietitian, Director of Nutrition Management with Meal Tracker for Matrix Care. And I want to thank you all for joining us today. I'm here with Anita Hoffman, Director of Culinary Service at Palm Garden, and Nicole Fresta, Clinical Dietitian. Today we're going to be talking about managing food allergies. Food allergies remain an increasing health risk in our senior population. An estimated 10% of adult population has a known food allergy. The aging process reduces the immune system, which can bring on late onset of food allergies. So great to have you join us, Anita and Nicole. Can you both share your origin stories with our audience? How about you go first, Anita?
I've been in long-term care since 1989. And when I first started, the food service departments were not using any type of computer software. So it was pretty much up to the tray line staff to determine what they were going to serve to the residents who had either diet combinations or many food dislikes or food aversions. So when Meal Tracker was implemented, then it transformed the meal service to the residents.
Wow. And how about you, Nicole?
So I started at Palm Garden in 2015. This was actually the start of my career as a dietitian. So far, Meal Tracker has been very, very easy to use, and there's always new features that are coming out to make my job easier.
Great, good to hear. It's great that you started out there and have grown while using the system with us. Nutrition therapy is such a great topic, and a focus on managing food allergies is so critical. Anita, can you tell our listeners why managing food allergies is so important at your facility or your organization?
Of course, first and foremost, not serving a food item that the resident is allergic to is paramount. Many allergies result in anaphylactic shock episodes, which are a medical emergency. In milder cases, the allergic reaction may cause discomfort at the very least. And this is also considered an actual harm situation or could be immediate jeopardy.
Yes, it's so critical. And Nicole, what do you recommend when it comes to management for a resident with food allergies and their plan of care and documentation and such?
So when there's a new resident that comes into my buildings, I review the medical record and make sure when there's a medication allergy, that sometimes these might translate to food allergies such as iodine or the flu vaccine, or I've seen even latex translate to food allergies and intolerances. Our team, whether it's me or the culinary manager, we confirm with the resident or the family member to make sure there's no food allergies when we see these listed. For example, if when I see an iodine allergy, I go check with the resident or the family member to make sure that it is only the dye. But sometimes I do find that there is a shellfish allergy when there's an iodine. When I do see the iodine allergy and the shellfish isn't in there, I will make sure to add the shellfish allergy to their medical record. So going forward, wherever they go, it'll follow them. I also ask the new residents or patients when they first come in to make sure they don't have any allergies that are listed, food allergies that are listed, because sometimes there's just random allergies that they might have and they say, oh yeah, I have a mango allergy. I'm sure to add that to their medical record and to Meal Tracker.
Yeah, sometimes you're the first person that triggers that reminder about food items when you interview the resident, right? I've often found that in my past life as well, or quite often the dietitian or the food representative is the one who finds that food allergy that the resident remembered that they had. So great of you to share that with us and the importance of how we gather the information. Anita or Nicole, I understand there are risks that caregivers should know about. Can you talk about some of the common factors that can lead to a food allergy reaction?
So it's important to know what ingredients are being used to prepare a recipe. A meal can be prepared so many different ways with different spices or flavors depending on who the cook is. In our facilities, it's important to follow our standardized recipes when cooking for these large number of people so that the allergens can be avoided. And this goes hand in hand with the meal tracker update. Another thing is, avoiding food contamination on the meal prep surfaces and keeping them clean and away from potential allergens. For example, when you're trying to prepare a peanut butter and jelly sandwich on a cutting board, and then you're going to prepare something like an egg salad sandwich after that, and knowing that there's a peanut allergy in the building, you want to keep away those allergens from.
Oh, I get it. The cutting board, you want to make sure that you're not sharing the allergen risk from one resident to another for sure by contaminating it, so to speak, right? So, and following the standardized recipe, that's a key thing to remind our listeners for sure, that if you don't follow the recipe appropriately when cooking, you could cause risk for an allergic reaction. Anita, how long have you been using Meal Tracker software? Can you tell us a little bit about, I understand you use the corporate module and the benefits from that?
Yes, I've been a user of Meal Tracker for at least 16 years. The corporate module allows me to centralize the menus, to manage the food items as far as consistency modifications and portions in a central program. I also have the ability to assign specific access to each user and then can secure the menu and food items. And with such a focus on food service safety, this is important.
Absolutely, I agree. And you want to make sure you're being consistent across the board. You want to make sure your menu is appropriate across the board. So having that oversight is critical to a large organization like yourself. Nicole, can you share your experience using Meal Tracker at the facility level as a user?
So everything is very user-friendly. And if there's anything that maybe Anita couldn't answer for me, the customer service at Meal Tracker is great. Everything from adding or editing residents and maybe special diets or food preferences that they have is easy to input. And there's so many reports that can be generated for each building for them to use. And it's very helpful.
Great, good to know. Thanks for that. Anita, what made you interested in participating? I understand we started a pilot on allergen feature and understand you were so eager to join. What made you willing to participate in this feature?
I was intrigued by the allergen system because I thought that it would really help us define allergens a whole lot better than just using group foods. And I always like testing new programs. I'm always willing to do that.
Yeah, you're a great advocate for our customer base for sure. Nicole, when you saw the conversion step that Meal Tracker took to help current users move to the new allergen feature, that process that was automatically done for you, what do you think about that?
It certainly made the conversion easier than having to start from scratch, and provided the continuity of the avoiding the foods that we wanted to. And we did need to do some cleanup and some revision, but it wasn't too bad.
Perfect. That's great to hear. And Anita, how did you see the resident profile management more superior in Meal Tracker using the allergen feature?
I think the allergen feature is much more accurate in identifying specific foods rather than using the group feature. The different allergens in a specific food can be identified at the food level rather than trying to make sure that the food is in multiple groups. It is also much easier to match up to our EMR, and it's also a lot cleaner the way it prints on the ticket.
Oh, I agree. What additional benefit do you see from using an isolated allergen feature? Maybe in the tolerable items? Can you talk about the tray ticket or food item details?
Being able to identify the tolerable items is a great feature, especially with the dairy or milk allergy, because as we are aware as dietitians, most of the time this is not a true allergy, it is just an intolerance, but people use that term interchangeably.
Right.
So if they insist that it's an allergy, we have to treat it as such, but then we would be able to identify these tolerable items. The tray ticket is much cleaner and easier to read as far as the specific allergies are concerned. And it's also consistent instead of each center putting the information in different places.
Oh, yes, I agree. You've covered a lot now. Can you recap your opinion of the benefits of Meal Tracker's latest feature?
I think this feature is a big step forward in assisting us in managing this area of resident safety.
Oh, I agree. Thank you. Thank you both. Can you tell our listeners about how you use Meal Tracker for your operations in general?
I encourage our managers to utilize every feature of Mule Tracker to assist them in providing efficient service, controlling costs, scheduling and production, resident needs and preferences. It's a great system for integrating residents' clinical needs with the operation of the kitchen.
Great. Can you share any more information for dining leaders out there and dietitians in similar environments before we close out?
I've looked at several different software programs for dietary service, and Meal Tracker is by far the most comprehensive in integrating the clinical functions with the operation systems in the kitchen.
Wow, that's great, ladies. While senior care facilities cannot expect to be completely free of foods that cause allergic reactions to each resident, leaders can implement and maintain a safe environment for those residents with food allergy, as you've mentioned throughout this interview. Thank you for joining us today. We had a great topic, Meal Tracker management of food allergens. I also want to thank Anita and Nicole for the wealth of information. Again, thanks for sharing. With the growing population of seniors being identified with allergies, it is a critical path to follow to pay detailed attention. I encourage listeners to check out our allergen feature in Meal Tracker, which improves resident safety of those with food allergies. Thank you both today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes the latest episode of the Post-Acute Point of View from Matrix Care. We have a lot of guests and topics coming up that you won't want to miss, so be sure to subscribe. If you've enjoyed today's podcast, and if you have a topic you'd like us to discuss, leave us a review. To learn more about Matrix Care and our solutions and services, visit matrixcare.com. You can also follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. Thank you for listening. Be well, and we'll see you next time.